On its journey to the far edges of space, the intergalactic colony ship Goliath has experienced an anomalous catastrophe. The ship is off course, the crew is missing, and strange, dangerous creatures roam the corridors. What few survivors remain will have to fight their way to the bridge and hope that they can endure the rest of their journey. Halfway is a tactical strategy game where you take on the role of a group of space marines trying to fight and survive after their massive spaceship is overrun by dangerous monsters and robots. The game is divided into several levels representing different decks of the ship, and in each one you'll have to escort your troops through and defeat your opponents in turn-based combat. Now, during combat, you and your opponents will take turns firing at each other and moving around the map. You have the flexibility to decide which character to activate, but once a character has used all their action points, they're down for that turn. As you progress and explore, you'll find crates or lockers full of ammo, medkits, and weapons, which you'll need to scavenge so that you can keep your troops healthy and well supplied during protracted firefights. Once you've cleared a level of hostiles, you'll be able to return to your base camp, where you'll be able to chat with your troops, manage inventories, and purchase consumables such as ammo and grenades. Now, the good thing about Halfway is that the game has a very lean tactical design. In combat, your characters only ever have 2 action points per turn, and everything they do, moving, shooting, reloading, using medkits, all of it consumes 1 action point. This means that everything you do has consequences, and you have to constantly weigh when's the best time to move or shoot or reload. On top of that, positioning is also important. The maps themselves are laid out in very straightforward overhead grid fashion, but all of the environmental obstacles, from overturned tables to crates to walls, provide cover bonuses. This means that you must constantly evaluate whether to spend your precious action points on attacking the enemy or getting your own troops into a more defensible position. On top of that, each of your troops has a special skill. These skills cost 1 action point and have to cool down between uses, but can give you powerful bonuses, such as increased damage, or 100% accuracy, or attacking multiple units in the same turn. This makes picking and choosing which soldiers to bring with you on a mission another part of the strategy. Now, I have to say that while Halfway has a very efficient core combat system that is a lot of fun to play around with, unfortunately the game has its equal share of frustrations. And the 2 things that stand out as being most frustrating are weapon scavenging and enemy placement. Now, weapon scavenging is the thing that's the most tediously aggravating about Halfway, mostly because you have to do it the entire game. Now, keep in mind, I'm not talking about basic inventory management where you keep track of your character's ammo and health packs, because that by itself is perfectly acceptable. No, what I'm talking about is how you have to scour every inch of every map looking for better equipment. And the reason you have to do this is because it is the only way that your soldiers will ever improve. Your money cannot be used to buy better weapons, so the only way that your soldiers are going to do more damage is if you find them a better gun. And so this means that you have to check every flashing crate in the game, because if you miss one, you're going to be underprepared. By the same principle, you will occasionally find incredibly rare hypos that improve your character's abilities, giving them more health or better accuracy. But unlike weapons, which are re-equipable, hypos are one-time use items, and there's not enough of them to go around between the 8 total characters that you can recruit over the course of the game, it's pretty much guaranteed that somebody's gonna get left behind. And keep in mind, there's no replaying previous levels, so if you miss something, it's gone forever. And all of this combines to create a situation where there's no reliable power curve. Chances are very good that you will either miss or avoid something, and wind up in a situation where you're just not as well equipped as you could be. Now, while scavenging might be annoying, it's possible to potentially work around it with, say, help from a walkthrough. However, what you can't get around, and what is truly frustrating, is the way that the game handles enemy placement. Essentially, the game explains early on that your ship is making uncontrolled warp jumps, and that's why you're so far off course. And it's these jumps that are used as the narrative explanation for how the enemy spawns on the map. What happens is that during a mission you will defeat all of the current enemies, at which point, instead of reinforcements coming in through a door or climbing up through a vent, the ship will warp and new enemies will spawn directly onto the map. It's a clever use of the science fiction premise, but it has a painful side effect. Specifically, that you, the player, will get into situations where an enemy wave will spawn onto the map and instantaneously surround you. Now, I want you to keep in mind, I'm not complaining about the game's overall difficulty. It is certainly hard, and that's fine. What I'm complaining about is this tactic in particular, because it is borderline unfair. I mean, I guarantee you will get into situations where the enemy will simply appear and cut you to pieces, and there's nothing you can do about it but replay the level with this foreknowledge, and that is incredibly frustrating. There are some other minor problems. The story, for instance, hints a lot at character and plot developments, but has ultimately no resolution. But that's a minor concern. The real problem is with scavenging and enemy placement. And with that in mind, I find that in the end I can only give Halfway 2 out of 4 stars, and a very hesitant recommendation. Make no mistake, Halfway has very efficient and streamlined tactical gameplay, but you have to be a hardcore fan to enjoy the overall experience. Even I could not accept how the game achieved some of its difficulty. Alright, well, we've reached the end again. I'll see you in the stars. Thanks for listening. Till next time.